Thank you everyone who's tagged me to this topic, and I hope you're having a great week, and hopefully a great weekend soon too. Anyways, we've got a voice actor situation going on. Here it is. Brandon Winkler, the voice of Kazuha's friend and two others in Genshin Impact, says, I have a big, giant, ridiculous call-out thread primed and ready to go, but I'll leave it at this, for now. Pay your actors on time. I'm so sick of waiting 3+ months for payment for literally the biggest video game project out there. Voice actors demand your payments. Adding in a response that they're losing their marbles. Another voice actor, this one for Paimon and Genshin Impact, adding that they have been waiting for payment from sessions that stretch back to December 2022, saying, kind of ridiculous how I am struggling to pay rent because this studio on this big project hasn't been paying me for my work. However, some may express doubt to some of the claims by the Paimon voice actor, given how that person had previously lied about certain things regarding Genshin Impact in the past, as well as other certain controversies that they were involved with in the fandom. Later on, Brandon Winkler would quote retweet their own tweet and add this information, saying, after a 5th email with no response, this is regarding Genshin Impact. Inexcusable for us as actors to be waiting 4+ months for pay when you make $86 million per month. Unfortunately, this is not an uncommon problem, and a thread about the whole thing. That tweet collecting over 24,000 likes. Side note, consider liking and or subscribing to this channel for more segments like this every day. Brandon then adding, it's really hard to justify working on something for the sake of work when you can't afford to eat. Many non-union productions have this problem. I've waited anywhere from 4 to 8 months for payment, and even then it isn't much to ask. 1,000 here, 500 there, and it adds up fast. I can only speak for myself, but I build my budget months in advance trying to accommodate this and not be a pain. Because I love to act. I love working on the games/shows these studios work on. A game like this, without a doubt, should be a union production. With all that said, I personally won't be working on this game anymore unless it goes under a union contract. I don't have much to lose from this choice, and if I'm lucky, I hope others will at least see where I'm coming from with that choice. I'm sorry to be so negative, ugh. Once again later adding another tweet that reads, alright, can't sleep, last post so I can have my thoughts cleared. I've asked and emailed and called and everything else that is in my power as an actor to do with Formosa and receive little to no response. I can't go months without being paid. Other actors can, I'm sure, but I'm not at that place yet. I have bills. Los Angeles is pricey. I'm not sure how other actors are being treated, but I speak only for myself. I'm well aware of what this could do to my relation with the studio and client, but I gotta live, union or bust for me going forward. However, another tweet from Brandon then reads, y'all really turned on me hard when you thought I was specifically going after Hoyo, so I'm squashing this now. Regardless of who is at fault, things should have never been allowed to get this bad. I will not be the bad guy for standing up for myself. Bye. Then saying, some of y'all, if we are picking apart words, thank you for supporting me throughout the day. It's been an exhausting one. It seems some people were rather upset with the initial blame being put on Hoyo instead of Formosa, essentially saying that it felt like they were misled. For example, this tweet reading, yeah, maybe don't blame Hoyoverse themselves if this is an issue with Formosa specifically. It changes the call to action from pay your actors, the other dub VAs do get paid, to take action against Formosa. It'd reach Hoyoverse faster this way, like the Tanari issue. It is probably a wise idea for voice actors to be more straightforward about the specifics regarding these sort of situations, especially after the now infamous Bayonetta situation from last October with Helena Taylor and Jennifer Hale, where Helena Taylor, at least according to my recollection, had made claims such as she's not even getting paid enough money to pay her rent. I think the words she used were also that she's not even making a living wage, or something of the sort. However, it later came out that she was apparently lying about almost everything. Another response to Brandon Winkler saying, maybe you should have said this first instead of blaming Genshin right off the bat. I know they have issues, and I normally wouldn't defend them, but before you make a call-out post, maybe think about who you are really trying to blame instead of spreading misinformation. And a direct response saying, Paimon's VA has the same issue. Hopefully this resonates. Fans are already raiding Hoyoverse's Twitter account. A response to that saying they should be targeting at Formosa for this, not Hoyoverse TBH. The other person then saying, yeah, I just recently found more details. I don't use Twitter that often, TBH. But that's still messed up, to be honest, TBH. That's still messed up. Maybe this case will actually get Hoyoverse's attention, and they will do something about Formosa. Hoyoverse has also gotten involved in the situation, issuing this statement that reads, we truly regret to learn about the ongoing situation. Genshin Impact values and respects the work and effort of everyone involved, and we support our voice actors to claim their proper due. We have made payments to our recording studio on time, and we immediately urge the studio to pay our voice actors from our past payments. Meanwhile, we are also seeking alternative solutions, and we will keep you posted on further developments. A Reddit thread on this topic also providing some additional information here, saying, Formosa was involved in an actor's strike in 2016 due to working/pay conditions. No other region's VAs have said anything. HSR is with a different studio, Rocket Sound. So it's looking like it's Formosa, not Hoyoverse, that's paying their talent. This is messed up though. Paimon has more dialogue than anybody in the game. And to not pay them is wrong, especially when they have medical bills to pay. Edit/update, Brandon clarified that it is Formosa that's at fault, not Hoyoverse. Update 2. Karina speaks on TikTok that they are not going to work until they get paid. They're worried that they could get fired for this. The OP then adding this, saying, added to the main post, Karina/Paimon speaks about the issue on TikTok. They've said they won't go to work until they get paid. Also worried that they'll be fired. Wants Genshin to go union to avoid these problems and protect themselves. And a response, reading, if Genshin switches to a unionized studio, they may lose some actors and have to recast them because those actors aren't connected to that studio. And a rather interesting exchange here, where this user says, I won't take sides until I get the whole picture. How many times have people jumped on a hate train because someone was being mistreated, only to end up being greed on the quote-unquote victim side? I'll say it up front, I dislike Paimon's voice actress, not for the Paimon role, but as a person. She has been controversial, but if she is in the right, she deserves her money and amends. But there's more to this than we are seeing. And nope, I'm not defending the studio or Hoyo. I stand firm by my belief. The worst part of Genshin is Hoyoverse, and this VA studio isn't really a paragon of quality. So whoever is in the wrong here had it coming. Kind of surreal, but no matter who's in the right with this one, we are still dealing with 3 parties of jerks. Response from Frostmage, saying, why has the VA been controversial? I'm out of the loop here. And the other person then saying this. She was really opinionated on Twitter. That's why she doesn't appear in the live streams. She claimed that Paimon pronouns are they since she is asexual. Paimon calls herself she in other languages and in some EN dialogue as well. Side note, to my recollection, she actually said it was because she's non-binary, not because anything regarding asexuality. Not that either would justify presenting headcanon as fact. Just saying. Back to the Redditor, they would finally say, Paimon calls herself she in other languages and in some EN dialogue as well. Then Karina tried to make a take on sexualized images of fictional children, being a contribution to pedos. But in the past, she shared a t-shirt with the Pokemon girls showing their behinds with this slogan. So yeah, she is a hypocrite, since those characters are canonically 10 years old. And then going back to Twitter, Sean Chiplock, the voice of Deluche, would say, please remember that Hoyo is the publisher, not the recording studio we work through. They may be just as unaware of this issue as the rest of you were, and the hope is that they can be made aware of how it's affecting their image, and through subsequent actions, correct it. Paimon's VA Karina actually responding to Sean saying this, I've been saying this from the start, we don't know who is at fault, but this wouldn't happen if we had the protection of the SAG union. Hayate responding to Sean Chiplock saying, hard to know who is at fault when the VA is only telling us half the story. Who actually pays them? From what I've gathered, Hoyo doesn't pay the English VAs directly. There's a middleman. Once Hoyo cuts the check to Formosa, it's Formosa's responsibility to pay their talent. Is Hoyo responsible in any way if the VA didn't get their payment? Didn't they only contract with the agency and not the VA themselves? Those of us outside of the realm of VA work don't know these things, so to really back you guys up, we need the full story, not just finger pointing. A response saying, bro, they tried to do it the goody-goody way and got nowhere. Keep in mind, this studio literally has already faced lawsuits years ago for the same stuff, withholding pay. Hoyo simply should have not partnered with them. And a response to that saying, it's difficult to avoid working with Formosa in the video game industry. They worked on games like Halo, The Last of Us, Gao, Zelda, Botwa, okay, Breath of the Wild, Mass Effect, Call of Duty, Battlefield, League of Legends, Borderlands, Death Stranding, and so many others I can't list all. And finally, these responses. They won so many awards with their games that they still have a good reputation despite what already happened regarding VAs that didn't get paid for their work. And this one saying, I mean, they quite literally did avoid working with them as evidenced by their other projects, HSR. But yes, Formosa is just a textbook example of the industry being bad. It doesn't really change anything. So while the VAs are getting a lot of support on Twitter, you can see there is still some mixed reception, and on Reddit, similar things going on. Once more, we'll take a look at the thread and then wrap this up. This particular comment reading, even when Karina is right, They should absolutely be paid for their work. Karina manages to mess up and stir up the wrong drama. How does Karina not know they belong to a third-party studio, and that's who should be paying them? Why are they blaming the project, and in such a way? Response: Karina never once blamed anyone specific as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure they know the hierarchy of the industry. When the person above you isn't paying, the next best alternative is to bring it to the ones who pay the person above you. Response reading: they mentioned the project making billions rather than at any point mentioning the studio. Yes, bringing it up to Hoyo would be fine and good, but the way Karina did it is not okay at all. Someone else comparing it to the Tanari situation and getting minus 11 downvotes. Other people laughing at the concept of unionizing and saying it's against the Chinese law, and other people taking the opportunity to mock Twitter. A discussion ensues talking about the controversial situation Karina was previously involved with regarding the character Child and their own headcanons being pushed onto said character and how they argue with the fandom over it. However, that's pretty much the end of the segment, as that is pretty much the overall situation, the overall news itself, so I'll leave it there. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you and your time, and consider letting me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I'll see you there, and of course, also in the next segment.